Let's talk about my week 3 top 25 after a raucous and fun week 2. Number 1, Georgia, 2-0. They beat Tennessee Tech like a drum, 48-3. That's what the $550,000 is for Tennessee Tech. My goodness, damn. Number 2, Ohio State, 2-0 now. They beat Western Michigan like they stole something, 56-0. This is a Western Michigan that pushed Wisconsin to the brink last week, showing you the difference between the class of the Big Ten and the midfield team or midfield pack in the Big Ten, which is where I expect Wisconsin to finish. We'll see if they have something different to say on Saturday when they play Alabama on Big Noon. Number 3, Texas with a statement win against the defending national champions, 31-12. Michigan was never in that game. Matter of fact, if you're watching that game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You expected Davis Warren to be Baker Mayfield. He is not. You expected Donovan Edwards to be Herschel Walker. He is not. Michigan does not have an offensive identity, but we'll talk about them in a little bit later. Texas looks every bit the part of a team that is continuing to play in the SEC championship. I moved Tennessee up to 4, man. They scored 69 against Chattanooga, and I realize y'all are going to tell me that it's Chattanooga. And then they dropped 51 on number 24, North Carolina State's head on a neutral site. My tongue is tied tonight. Nico Iamaleava, my goodness. He's 3-0 as the starter at Tennessee, putting up 30 or more in each one of those games. Every game he started, he's had multiple TDs. Did he have a great night against NC State? No, but that's kind of the point. He didn't have to because the defense at Tennessee is finally elevating to looking a lot like the offense at Tennessee, and that is what makes them dangerous. They are getting to be as good defensively as they are offensively, and I think that they are an SEC title contender. Iamaleava. See, I just needed to warm up a little bit. Number 5, I got Ole Miss, who has yet to play anybody outside the 5A high school class division, but, Middle Tennessee, 52-3. SC, I got at number 6. They blanked Utah State, 48-0. Great win against LSU, and that 0 was very important because they also, like Tennessee, are showing me they got a defense. Denton Land getting it done. Number 7, I got Penn State. They tried to put the money in the bag to Bowling Green. Would have had to pay $1.5 million anyway. This time they at least got the W after falling behind early 24-20. They come back to beat Bowling Green 34-27. Number 8, I got 2-0. Alabama, who played with its food for far too long in South Florida. Eventually, leave it to true freshman Ryan Williams to break this thing open in the fourth quarter. Alabama scores 28, and that's how you get a score of 42-16. But it was 14-13 for far too long, and South Florida looked like they were getting ready to pull an upset. Number 9, I got Oregon, who barely beat Boise State with a walk-off field goal, 37-34. Ashton Jeanty rushed for, my goodness, 192 yards in this game, 3 TDs. I know Oregon fans are going to look at me and be like, Ashton Jeanty's real good. Idaho's not. Y'all in one-score games against teams from Idaho, far too much for my liking. We beat Idaho 24-14. Yeah, at the end, 17-14, far too long, dog. I don't know about this team. I really don't know. They're in the top 10 now, but barely. Like, I thought about it. Number 10, I got Miami 2-0. They beat Florida A&M 56-9. Cam Ward followed up a 385 performance with a 300-yard passing performance. Hurricanes put up 500 yards of offense in both games. Utah at number 11 for me. With Cam Rising as starting quarterback, that looks like a Big 12 championship contender. When he's not there, they don't. He had to leave the game due to an injury, but it doesn't feel like the injury is going to be something that holds him back going into next week. They're also 2-0 after their win against Baylor. Missouri, I got at 12. Like Ole Miss, they have yet to play anybody outside the 5A high school classification, but they did blank Buffalo 38-0. Not the Bills, but the Bulls. Number 13, I got Oklahoma State, who tried everything in their power to throw this game away to Arkansas at home, and Arkansas wouldn't let them. They win this game in double overtime, 39-31, despite giving up 648 total yards, 400-yard passer, and a 149-yard rusher. It's just, frankly, Arkansas couldn't get out of its own way. The only thing that sucks about this game is that Colin Oliver left it with what seems like a lower leg injury that's going to force him to miss the rest of the season. Clemson took out the whole 55-gallon drum of whoop ass and pulled it all on Appalachian State. They scored 66, beating App State 66-20. It was 56-21 at halftime. I mean, Dabo Swinney heard us talking about them, and he unleashed his quarterback. I just wish he could do it against a Power 4 team because, well, Clemson can't seem to do that on the regular anymore. Number 15, I got Michigan. They, again, don't have an offensive identity. They feel like what Florida State is in the ACC. They're just not very good, and we thought they were going to be good. They're worse than I thought they would be. They got one bona fide receiving weapon in Colston Loveland, and that dude fumbled a football against Texas, and you still don't have a quarterback. This is a time when I'm going, Sharon Moore has his work cut out for him. He would really love to have Cade McNamara right now, and Michigan, it smells like 8-4 in here. Number 16, I got LSU. They beat Nichols 44-21. They still haven't beat a team in the FBS. I would like to see that. They get a South Carolina team that handed Kentucky its head last week, so we'll see about that. Number 17, I got Kansas State. They came from behind to beat a very good Tulane team, 34-27. Number 18, I got Oklahoma. Realize that Oklahoma is 5 of 26 on third down through 2 games against Temple and Houston. I said it looks like 8-4 in Michigan. It feel like 4 and what I can't even do the math because Oklahoma's never done this before. It feels bad. It feels bad. Defeated Houston. 16-12. Got a late safety to get the ball back and not necessarily to score because Oklahoma led this 14-12, but it was more about can we just get the ball back because, well, we can't trust this offense to do a damn thing. The only thing top 25 about Oklahoma right now is its defense, but that's enough to make a top 25 right now. Number 19, I got Louisville. They're 2-0. They beat Jacksonville State 49-14. Again, like Ole Miss, like Missouri, they have not played a team outside of, 5A high school classification yet. They beat Jacksonville State. They beat Austin Peay. Those weren't close games, but now they're going to get tested. They get Georgia Tech, Notre Dame, and SMU all in a row. They get to prove they belong here. Number 20, I got Syracuse. Kyle McCord has thrown for 350-plus at 4 TDs in back-to-back games. They're 2-0, and they beat a ranked team for the first time since October 2022 in Georgia Tech. Number 21, I got Arizona, who, again, played with its food for far too long. But they got the win against Northern Arizona 22-10, and now they get a big one against Kansas State on Friday. Number 22, I got Iowa State, come from behind, walk-off victory. Kyle Conradi from 54 yards out to give Iowa State a win over Iowa 20-19. Even though Caleb Johnson ran for 187 yards, looks like a really solid Big 12 title contender. Number 23, I got Nebraska with a great win against Colorado 28-10 after putting up 40 on UTEP. They feel like they could be undefeated by the time they get to Ohio State on October 26th. I think the toughest team they're going to have to face between now and then is Illinois, who knocked off a top 25 Kansas. Number 24, I got Notre Dame. It's not just that Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame in South Bend 16-14 on national television. It's that Notre Dame paid $1.4 million for the privilege. NIU, my goodness. Notre Dame, I say you've been hoodwinked. I said you've been had. I said you've been took. I said you've been bamboozled, led astray, run amok. This is what he does. NIU, put the shimmy in the shag. Notre Dame, put the money in the bag. My goodness. Boston College rounds out my top 25. They beat Duquesne 52-0. They get Missouri this week. Missouri, finally going to have to show us that you have a real football team playing against another real football team.